Hi, I'm David Neese with EV World News. From EV breakthroughs to clean energy milestones, here's what moved the industry this week.
Ford and General Motors started the week by finding a way to keep the $7,500 federal EV credit alive, even after it officially expired on September 30. Both companies are using their in-house financing arms, Ford Credit and GM Financial, to temporarily purchase EVs from their dealers. By doing so, those vehicles qualify under the Commercial Clean Vehicle Credit, which still applies to business purchases. Dealers then lease those cars back to customers at lower monthly rates, effectively passing along the same $7,500 savings that buyers were used to. It's a legal workaround that could help maintain lease affordability through the end of the year while lawmakers debate whether to renew the program. Tesla also made headlines this week by posting record-breaking third-quarter results. The company delivered just over 497,000 vehicles worldwide between July and September, surpassing even optimistic analyst forecasts. The Model 3 and Model Y once again dominated sales, accounting for roughly 97% of total deliveries. Production remained nearly on pace with 447,000 units built. Tesla also set a new record in its energy division, deploying 12.5 gigawatt-hours of stationary storage, the company's highest quarterly figure yet. Analysts noted that a surge in late September deliveries helped Tesla push out inventory before the tax credit deadline, especially in the US and China, where local sales spiked in the final week of the quarter. Meanwhile, General Motors reported one of its strongest EV quarters to date. The company sold 66,501 electric vehicles in the United States, a 110% jump compared to last year. The Chevrolet Equinox EV led GM's growth, followed by the Cadillac Lyriq and the Silverado EV. GM credits this surge to improved battery production and cost reductions through its Ultium platform, which has now scaled across multiple factories in Michigan and Tennessee. Executives say the company remains on track to produce 400,000 EVs annually in North America by 2026 and expects to reach break-even margins on electric models within the next 18 months. In safety news, Nissan issued a recall for nearly 19,100 Leaf EVs built in 2021 and 2022 after discovering a potential risk of battery overheating during repeated DC fast charging. The issue comes from lithium deposits that can form inside the battery control unit, increasing heat and, in rare cases, creating a fire hazard. Nissan says it has not recorded any injuries or incidents linked to the defect. Owners will receive a free software update that adjusts charging voltage and adds new temperature safeguards. As other automakers react to the loss of federal incentives, Stellantis and BMW have launched their own rebate programs to keep customers interested. Stellantis is offering $7,500 off new electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles through November 3rd, while BMW's offer includes $7,500 off its fully electric models and $5,000 off the 750e plug-in hybrid until November 1st. Both companies say the goal is to bridge the transition period until new national policies are introduced and to keep dealer traffic steady through the fourth quarter. In state-level policy, Illinois confirmed that its next round of EV rebate applications will open on October 28th. The program offers up to $4,000 for low-income buyers or $2,000 for others who purchased an electric vehicle within the past 6 months. The Illinois EPA says it will prioritize vehicles built in the state, such as the Rivian R1S and R1T, as part of its effort to strengthen local manufacturing. The program is funded by the Clean Energy and Jobs Act and is expected to run until the end of the current fiscal year. Colorado, on the other hand, is going even bigger. The state increased its new vehicle EV rebate to $9,000 and its used EV rebate to $6,000, the most generous in the nation. It also allocated $5 million in grants to build 9 new fast-charging plazas across major highways, adding 56 DC charging ports. These projects are part of the state's long-term DC fast-charging plazas program and are scheduled for completion between 2026 and 2027. But not all the news this week was optimistic. A Reuters survey of automakers and dealers suggests that U.S. EV registrations could drop by roughly 27% in the final quarter of 2025, following the loss of the federal credit. Entry-level models priced under $40,000 are expected to take the biggest hit, as many relied on the credit to stay price competitive with gas-powered cars. Automakers are already fighting back with bigger discounts, short-term lease deals, and dealer cash incentives to keep sales from falling sharply. Turning to automaker performance, Rivian released its third-quarter production and delivery figures this week. The company built 10,720 vehicles and delivered 13,201, a 32% increase in deliveries from a year ago. However, total production declined 19% due to supply chain changes and plant retooling at its Normal, Illinois facility. Rivian narrowed its 2025 delivery guidance to between 41,500 and 43,500 vehicles and reported that per-unit costs are down nearly 20% from last year. The R1S SUV continues to be its most popular model. Following that update, Rivian's stock fell around 7% as analysts trimmed earnings forecasts and lowered price targets. Some attributed the drop to broader EV market uncertainty after the tax credit's expiration. Still, Rivian maintains a strong financial position with more than $7 billion in cash and short-term assets and says its Georgia factory remains on schedule to open by late 2026. The company is also growing its commercial partnerships, with additional fleet contracts from Amazon and several regional utility providers. In other news, former Tesla Global Sales Chief John McNeil told Business Insider that the electric vehicle market is now mature enough to grow without government subsidies. He pointed to Europe, where EV sales continued to rise even after subsidy cuts, crediting a wider variety of models and more robust charging networks. McNeil said the U.S. market is reaching a similar tipping point, where competition, technology improvements, and expanded infrastructure can sustain growth organically. Speaking of infrastructure, the Department of Energy reported that the U.S. now has more than 60,300 DC fast-charging ports nationwide, an increase of 80% in just 2 years. Much of that expansion came from Tesla opening its Supercharger network to other brands and from new stations funded by the federal NEVI program. California remains the clear leader with around 19,000 fast chargers, followed by Florida and Texas. Federal data shows that roughly 3/4 of Americans now live within 25 miles of a DC fast charger, a key milestone in closing the range gap for new EV owners. Meanwhile, automakers and state governments are moving quickly to fill the policy vacuum left by the expired credit. Hyundai has launched a $7,500 cash rebate on Ioniq models purchased this month. Stellantis expanded dealer discounts on Jeep and Chrysler plug-in hybrids, and California redirected portions of its clean transportation budget toward low-income buyer programs and public charging grants. Combined, these efforts could recapture about half the financial value of the lost federal incentive through the end of this quarter.
That's it for this week's EV World Update. I'm David Neese. Don't forget to subscribe and catch our live podcasts every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with Bill and Mike. See you next time.